good people, how are you doing? Thank you so much for tuning into this channel. My name is Lynn Nyawera. This is Kenya Young Journalist, where I bring you real life stories that will impact your life in a positive way. So today I have an amazing guest with me, and as I promised you, I'm coming back to interviews. This is the day, and I am so excited to bring to us the guest of the day. Her name is Jeniffer Kiarie. She is a therapist, she is a relationships coach and a life coach at the same time. So today we are going to get so much knowledge, so much wisdom. We are going to be inspired, so you can't afford to miss any part of this story. So at this time, I take this opportunity to welcome her, and she is going to take us through her story. Hi Jeniffer.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
It's such a pleasure to have you today.
The pleasure is actually mine.
Yes.
Yeah, I thank God for the chance.
Yes. Thank you for making your time. Yes. So, can you tell us more about yourself?
Okay, so
Yes.
Jeniffer Kiarie, like you have said, I'm a therapist or a psychological counselor.
Okay.
I'm a relationships coach. I coach people about relationships and healthy relationships for that matter.
Yes.
And I also coach people on life issues. So I'm also a life coach.
Okay.
Yes, and I'm passionate about emotional healing, loving healthy, that is how I like calling it, and purposeful living.
Okay. Yeah, so even as we get into the depth, because I know my followers, I know most of you want us to get direct to the relationships part, because nowadays relationships, especially on social media, the rate of breakups, the rate of divorce is very high. And before we get to that part, let our guest tell us where she got this inspiration to be able to touch people's lives, to be able to inspire others, and especially when it comes to the emotion, comes to life issues. Where did it all start?
Okay, to be honest, I don't even know if I have a specific source of inspiration.
Yes.
Because how I will put my story is that it's like a process that I went through.
Okay.
But this process actually began in 2017 because that is the time I started experiencing what I like calling divine discontent. You know, you become discontent with your life, discontent with what you are doing, how you are spending your days. And that is what happened with me at the time. I was actually doing an online writing. I was doing online writing jobs.
Okay.
And I started being, feeling unfulfilled, feeling like life should have more.
Yes.
And at that time when I was experiencing that discontent, concurrently, I was also being, I like calling it haunting, the way you can feel you don't have peace.
Yes.
So I started being haunted by my father's death. Now, I need to tell our viewers that back in 2006, my father fell into a river and drowned to death. And by the time he was falling, he was drunk. And he had been struggling with alcoholism for a period of around 10 years. So from 1986 to 2006. And that is when now he drowned. So in 2017 now, I started feeling like I'm being haunted by my father's death. Like I need to do something. Like the way you can feel you don't have peace.
Yes.
You need to do something about a certain issue.
Yes.
So I started feeling discontent and wanting to do something to help people so that they don't die like my father died.
Yes.
And that is when now I started going to high schools to talk to the students about alcohol and drugs.
Okay.
So that is where I began. At least now I felt I'm doing something.
Yes.
As opposed to just staying in the house and doing online writing. So I went to high schools. That was in 2017, 2018, and 2019. And then in 2020 I had to take a break because I got pregnant. And when I was at home, that is when I really yearned to learn more about drugs and alcohol.
Yes.
Because at the time, whatever knowledge I was sharing at the schools, it was based on my experience with my father and also the research that I would do online before I got to talk to them.
Yes.
So I felt I needed more professional knowledge. And now that I was at home, I couldn't go back to school, like the way we go register in a college and all that. So that is when I had seen someone indicate that we have free online courses. And that is when I decided, let me check out these free online courses and see what they offer. And I remember when I enrolled, I saw a course in mental health. I actually enrolled for a course in mental health, but what I was looking for, it was a course in drug abuse. But then I couldn't get a standalone course on drug abuse. So when I enrolled for the mental health course, and then realized the drug abuse was just a module in the course, I wanted to unenroll. Because at the time, I didn't really understand the connection between poor mental health and drug abuse. But then when I wanted to unenroll, it's like a voice told me, drug abuse is actually rooted in poor mental health. So if you want to deal with the drug abuse, you have to deal with the poor mental health. So that is when I decided not to unenroll. So I proceeded with the short course. It's a course that I finished in a month or two. And then during that course, that is when I came across the word childhood trauma the first time. Honestly, I've never read any such thing. Maybe it's important I mention to my viewers that in campus I had done BSc biochemistry. So I had not come across the word childhood trauma anywhere. So now when doing this course, that is when I came across the word childhood trauma, and I started connecting the dots between childhood trauma and poor mental health as an adult. And then I started seeing things, learning things, and I started connecting the dots about my own life, the way I had been like, and especially in my own marriage. So I started realizing I behave like this because of this. The dots started connecting. And that is when I got really interested. And now fast forward in 2021, that is when I decided to enroll formally in school and learn more about, And I also, by the way, it's also important I mention that out of going through that short course, I was able also to connect between how my father became alcoholic and the issues that he could have been going through. So now so much made sense to me. So that is when I decided I will go back to school and learn more. And I went back to school. I enrolled in Abref International University in 2021. And then that is when I started studying. I understood so much. And I felt I can't stay with what I know just by myself. And that is when I started sharing. Actually, I started sharing the little that I knew when I went through the short online course. So that is when I started my Facebook page, with Jeniffer Kiarie, wanting to share my knowledge. Now when I went back to school, that is when so much made sense to me. So I continued sharing. I went for my practicum. Then here I am. Now I'm a therapist, a relationships coach, and a life coach, because there is a big connection between trauma, emotional trauma, either during childhood or during whatever relationships, and the way people behave in relationships and in life in general.
So when you went back to school, you did a which course?
I did a course called advanced. It was an advanced diploma in mental health practice.
Wow. And basing on the information that you got, were you the only one who was affected, or your other siblings as well?
Okay, this is what usually happens. It is important that the viewers understand this. You may be brought up in the same environment, but all of you come out with different challenges. So for me, I don't want to speak on behalf of my siblings because that is their story. But for me, I came to understand the issues I presented with because of being brought up in a household where my father was struggling with alcoholism. So for me, I came out with certain issues that maybe I'll explain more at some point. And my other siblings, they also had their own issues. Those are theirs to talk about, or they are the ones who understand themselves better. But that is what usually happens. So you may grow up in the exact environment, but you come out with different impacts.
So let's say there is someone out there watching us and maybe they were brought up in such an abusive family, all those things of alcohol, fighting father and mother and all that. Where can someone start? Where does the healing start? If you have nowhere, maybe you don't have someone, how can you advise someone there?
I usually tell people healing starts when you acknowledge that there is something off in me.
Yes.
Because what usually happens is that we live in denial, either because of ignorance or because we don't want to face the truth.
Yeah.
For me, I always thought I was fine. I always thought I was okay. Whatever I was presenting with was just normal issues or normal issues of life. So for me, my awakening was when I realized, wait, what I think it's normal, it's not.
Yeah.
So I usually say healing starts the moment at which you get that eye-opening, the eye-opening that you experience, the enlightenment, like what you're talking about today. When you learn something, like people come to my Facebook page and they realize I write something and then someone is like, wait, this actually relates with what I do or what I have experienced.
Yeah.
The moment you get that, do you call it? I don't know, there is a term for it, when your eyes just open. And then the next thing now, you acknowledge for sure, I have a problem. And actually what should happen before that is that once you get some enlightenment, like what we are saying here, then you learn, you monitor yourself more. I usually really advocate for self-monitoring. You ask yourself, how do I really behave? Because that is what for me I did. When I came across issues of childhood trauma, I know that. I then now started monitoring myself. How do I behave? What usually happens so that I behave like this? I started self-monitoring. So I continued understanding myself more and more. In the meantime, I also learned more. So once you start monitoring yourself and noticing certain behavioral patterns, then you seek to understand yourself more. Then you learn precisely what I present with. You get names for your maladaptive behavior. So you start realizing, wait, I think I have low self-esteem. Now you have a term for it. Wait, I think I have anger issues. I have trust issues. So now you have a term for them. Then the next thing now you ask yourself, and sometimes it is also important I mention this. Sometimes you may not get this clarity on your own. So sometimes you may think, I think there is a problem with me, but you can't really put a word to it. So that is where now you can seek the help of a professional therapist. He or she will sit with you. They will seek to understand what is this that you do, and they'll be able to tell you this is what you are presenting with, or these are your challenges. So now the moment now you do what? The moment you have a term for what you're experiencing, then you get to understand, where did it come from? Where did my low self-esteem issues come from? Then you understand the roots, because you have to if you want to deal with a problem, you deal with the roots first before you even come to the fruits, right? So you go to the roots, you unearth it from there. It's a way deeper process that will involve a therapist or even self-healing through a very intentional process. If for low self-esteem, for instance, if there are negative things that you were told when you were young, you unearth those things and you challenge them. You dispute your thoughts, you dispute your beliefs, and then eventually able to overcome. And also you educate yourself on how to boost your self-esteem and all that. So that is basically, in a nutshell, that is how healing, you go about healing.
And I think that is quite very important, because in this era we are a lot of social media platforms. Like, I think people have more time for social media than for themselves. Like that gap, do you have something like, is there a solution to that gap, or is just a personal? I think it's just a personal, someone being intentional on what they want in their life. Someone, you take your time for yourself, not every time you are in TikTok, every time you are in Facebook. Or what do you have for this generation concerning the same?
I usually tell people, and especially, let me say this to people who are young and who are watching us. You have something that those that are ahead of you don't have. Like, Lily, you are younger than me. You have something that I don't have. And that something is precious. You know what that thing is? Time. If there is a difference of 8 years between me and you, it means that there is no way I can get back that 8 years. But you have it. And how you use it is solely at your discretion. So I usually tell people, what are you doing with your time? When you will be 8 years older, from today, when you look back, will you be proud because of the way you spent the last 8 years? You know, Lynn, let me tell you, I usually tell people, if I had a regret, because to be honest, I have none. I mean, life is too precious to spend it in regrets. It would be the many times I had a lot of time and I never used it well. You know, when I was doing online writing, I remember during off season, because the job used to have peak season, off peak. Off-peak season. During the off-peak season, we used to have a lot of time. You wake up, you have nothing much that you're doing. But unfortunately, I used to spend that most of that time sleeping. You know, it's not even like now. You know, now there's a lot of social media content and all that. At that time, and I'm talking about maybe way back in 2015, 16, and 17, and all that. So social media had not really thrived as much as now. So not even on social media. I mean, I used to sleep a lot, you know, just idle around, just do nothing. And I usually tell myself, hey, I really wasted a lot of time. Right now, if there is something I never have, it is idle time. Because every time I'm free, I have something to do. I'm learning, and especially learning and being inspired. If I have to consume something on social media, and I wish our viewers can also adopt this kind of mindset. If I have to consume something on social media, it better be added value to my life. I never consume something just for the sake of it. It is either inspiring me, encouraging me, or entertaining me, and just be positive entertainment, not just entertainment. So I became more accountable with my time, and that is how, you know, some people ask me, how do you handle your work, your the inspiration that you offer people, that I offer people on social media every single day. And everything else that you need to do, family level, because I'm a mother in a wife. I handled it because I became more accountable with my time. I don't waste my time anymore. I wish, again, our viewers can understand the value of the time that they have in their hands. Make good use of it. It can transform their life.
Exactly. Yeah, and now talking of a therapist, I think people are so reluctant to go see a therapist. When you tell someone you need to see a therapist, they take it somehow, that's quite serious. They have not reached that level. Like there is some negative influence. What can be the bridging point about it?
You know, let me tell you, Lena, if I were asked, every single one of us needs a therapist at some point in time. And you know, the way people go for some medical checkup, you know, it's not like you are sick, you're just like, let me go and just be assessed. And or even let me go just talk to my daughter and get some valuable advice on this and the other. That is the same. I wish we can have the same mindset towards psychotherapy, because that is what people counseling. So because the reason why I say every single one of us requires therapy at some point in time, it's because this life has a lot. So you shouldn't wait until you get to a point where you are into depression, for instance, or you now have some anxiety and panic attacks. That is when then now you run to a therapist. You shouldn't wait until it gets there. And let me tell you, I'm very encouraged by some people, some of my clients actually, because they come to me for one of them told me, I want maintenance. You know the way you go and take a car for maintenance, without servicing and all that. And she told me, I want to be maintained. And she comes for therapy every single week. She will only miss if she has something very serious that is happening and she can't, you know, the time and everything. But that is the approach that we should have towards therapy. Because really, every single day, we are going through stuff. Either in our relationships, in our marriages, at work, you know, you were into this conflict at work and you went on feeling down and all that. Don't wait until things get so bad. And people usually say, so, in other words, therapy is not for sick people. It is not. It is only that people come when they are already sick. But it is something that we should do. And let me tell you, people underestimate the value of sitting down with a person who doesn't judge you, a person who doesn't know you beyond the interaction that you have and the things that you share, and you speaking out freely in a safe space. There is a lot of value in that. If people could embrace it, I'm telling you, we will have fewer people getting into serious mental illness. Yeah.
Yeah, because there is this issue of even that has been even trending on social media of someone you trust people, they're your relatives, they're your friends, you trust them, and then because of what you are going through, human beings, especially ladies, we always want to open up. So you end up opening up to a person and then they betray you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let me tell you, Lynn,
Yeah.
I wish people can really get this. That I know sometimes I'm not trying to be judgmental or anything.
Yes.
Sometimes life happens, and maybe you are not even in a position to go for therapy, or you don't have the finances, or you don't even know there is anything like therapy.
Yes.
There are people who are viewing us, or people out here who have no idea what this therapy thing is or counseling is. People think counseling will be short. Many people have a lot of misunderstanding regarding counseling. So life can happen. And you find yourself, the only way you can save yourself is by talking to whoever. I hear people sometimes even saying, I would talk to anyone, even I will meet a person at the road and talk to them. Sometimes life can push you to that corner. But let me tell you, there is a lot of risks that come with that. First, there is being judged, and let me tell you, the damage that comes with being judged within. You maybe, let's say you got into this relationship, it went south, you had broken a lot. You come to me, I'm not a professional, so I judge you, and I'm like, you couldn't see this person. How can you be? Some people have even come to me and they tell me that this person told me how stupid can I be? So you are really judged. I'm telling you, your problems just become double. If you are at the edge of getting to depression, you go to a person and they judge you, I'm telling you, just fall into depression. And the same happens when you tell a person your story, and then they share it out there with the just one. And you don't usually tell this is a sad story. It's a sad state of affairs. If you have two reliable and trustworthy friends, you should really thank God. Many people don't have that luxury. The friends that in fact, many people come to therapy and they tell me, generally, I have single trustworthy friends. Like, I can't share what I'm sharing with you with another person because they will either judge me or they will tell it out there. So, again, people underestimate the safety, the emotional safety that comes with talking to a person who can't judge you, because really, I tell you, we never judge. Zero. You can't be a therapist and you're judging a person. If you're a judgmental person, you are in the wrong profession. So no matter the blunders that you have made, I'm not going to judge you. I only have one goal as a therapist, to make you feel better, to make you experience life better, to make better decisions, and so on. So it's not my place to judge you, no matter the blunders that you make. And that, it is valuable. I wish people can just understand. Sometimes I listen to my clients and I'm just happy because, wow, I envy them. I envy them because even though I also have my own therapy sessions where I go whenever I feel I need to talk to a person, like I admire, like these people who are, I admire what I offer. And not just maybe there are so many other therapists who offer this. Like I admire the safe space that you give people, because it is precious, it is valuable, and it can keep a person from doing so many things that will affect them negatively in their lives.
Exactly. So my good people, it's a very important, like me and you now, we start embracing, like we reach to a point where we have someone to open up to, someone that will not judge us, someone will not see your mistakes only. Even if they see your mistakes, they will correct you accordingly. So don't go and end up being betrayed by your close friend. And so at this point, let's get to the relationship session. I know many of the ladies out there, they ask, when is the right time to get married? When is the right time to get in a relationship? Like talking to maybe a teenage girl who has just finished high school, they are going to campus. Like, what is your advice to such a person?
Lynn, I usually look back at my own experience and the experience of many people my age, and so many of us made decisions that were not really the right ones. But sometimes I don't judge us, because honestly, we used to be told these things, but not so, in such a clear manner or not so often.
Yeah.
You are my follower on my Facebook
Yes.
page, and I share these things almost on a daily basis.
Exactly.
So most of us, we were suffering from ignorance, and it costed us heavily. Now, I usually say this. Let me tell you, life does not end when you get married. Life does not end when you get into a relationship. I know nowadays there is this statement, this popular statement that marriage is not, I think it's not an achievement, a destination, or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but for me, my point is, even after marriage, you will also have a life to live.
Yeah.
I got married in, this is my 14th year in marriage.
14?
Yes, 14.
Hey, myself, I'm sure 14 is quite a lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
I got married 14 years ago. And I will tell you, if I never made effort to build a life before I got married, and even after I got married, I don't know what I would be doing. Let me tell our viewers this, our young viewers who are watching us.
Yeah.
I know. I was there, and I know you are burning. You are burning to get into a relationship. You are burning to get married, maybe. But you need to ask yourself, after marriage, then what? How will I live my life? Have I built a solid foundation for myself? So that, because let me tell you,
yes,
if you marry a person who doesn't have a life, they become a burden to you. The same thing, if you get married by a person who doesn't have a life, they become a burden to you. You've got no idea what it means when you have to leave a person in the house. You go to work, they spend the whole day alone or idling or gossiping with other people in the plot, and then this person is waiting for you. When you come in the evening, they have so much negativity that has cooked in their mind. They start picking issues where none exists. That is why you find that a marriage goes haywire, and it is a marriage that had a potential, but because there is this person who never built a life before, all they do is idle around and pick issues where none exist in the other person. So build a life. And I usually say, actually,
yes,
Lynn, if I was to give you one advice, that I assure you it would really increase the chances of you succeeding in marriage, here would be my advice. You heal from any emotional wounds that you have, one. Then number two, have a purposeful life for yourself.
Yes.
Don't make your partner your life. That you are going to mess things up. So this is my advice. It doesn't matter where you are, high school, campus. My advice, or even you just finished campus, you have now started working, build a life before you bring a person into your life.
Yes.
That will save you a lot. And it will make you are going to bring value into the relationship or into the marriage.
Yeah.
Because there is something you do with your life. Your partner won't come to rehabilitate you. There are so many marriages in which people are rehabilitating each other. And let me tell you, marriage has so much else to deal with. Honestly, when you start rehabilitating each other, the rest you have abandoned. There are kids will come at some point. You need to take care of the kids. You need to earn a living for the family. So when you start rehabilitating each other, so everything else is going south. I would say that there is a single formula for happiness in marriage, but then you can build a foundation. And a foundation is heal emotionally from any emotional wounds that you have. Then build a purposeful life for yourself. You will increase the chances of being happy and fulfilled in your marriage.
Amazing. And now about building a purposeful life. In the era we are, like, not many young people are really working in their purpose. There is a lot of many disruptions. Like now, how can one come to a point of discovering this is my purpose, this is what I want to pursue? Because there is a lot going on. Which is this thing that one can use to easily identify their purpose in life?
People discover their purpose in different ways. But before I even tell about the different ways through which you can discover your purpose, it is important to know that there is no purpose without God. So the bottom line is that irrespective of what you are going to do, because I'm going to give the different ways in which you can explore things and you come up with your purpose. Before you do all that, you have to have a close relationship with God. because there is no purpose without God. You know, purpose is what you came here to do, and there is no one who created you. But then, because of the many things that happen in life, most of us are not able to, we are not able to like discover purpose automatically or obviously.
Yes.
So, first, build a relationship with God. Number two, like in my case, I discovered my purpose out of the roots that I harbored for long. I usually say that I had father roots. Being brought up by a father who had challenges with alcoholism.
Yes.
There would be violence in our home. There would be so many other problems. I came out with what people call father roots. Those emotional roots you develop as a result of an experience with your father. So my struggles with those father roots then opened my eyes to the fact that there must be so many other people who suffer as a result of this. And the reason why I'm saying it's important to involve God in this entire process is because, like for me, it didn't happen overnight. It is a journey that I walked with God.
Yes.
You see, I started by going to high schools to talk about drug abuse and alcoholism.
Yes.
At that point in time, I could have said, this is my purpose. Even though I have to say purpose evolves. Sometimes you start with this and then you evolve. Yeah, so, and then now from there I studied and learned about childhood trauma. Then I realized I struggled with childhood trauma for so long.
Yeah.
Then I realized, and when I started sharing content on my page, people would come to my inbox and I realized many people are actually struggling. And then having struggled with the thing myself, I realized that I felt a strong desire. And you see the reason why I was saying you should build a relationship with God first? You see the verse that says, God will grant the desires of your heart. You know what it means is that the desires you have in your heart, they are coming from God. So I developed a strong desire to help people deal with the problems and the challenges that I dealt with. And that is how now I discovered my purpose. I help people heal from emotional roots. And because emotional roots affect relationships, I also help people build healthy relationships and then live a purposeful life. So out of the struggles I had, I found my purpose. So one way in which you can discover your purpose is by looking at the challenges you have gone through. Just look around on social media and wherever, and you're going to realize many people found their purpose out of the challenges that they went through.
Exactly.
So the other way in which you can find out your purpose, again after having built a relationship with God, it is to look at the things that bring you fulfillment. Like for me, whenever I sit down with a person and I offer a therapy session or a coaching session, I get a lot of fulfillment. The same way with when I teach, like what I'm doing here, because I also offer webinars, online seminars. And whenever I do it, I am so fulfilled. I get fulfilled. God did not create us to come here, exist, and then exist.
Sure.
We were created for a reason. And whatever God created you for, your purpose, it is meant to fulfill you, not to bring you agony and all that. So what is this that you do and it brings you fulfillment? I'll give an example. One of my clients told me, she's currently working as a nanny, and she told me, one of the things, we talked and I told her about the power of what brings you fulfillment. And then she evaluated herself and realized that she gets fulfilled whenever she takes care of a sick person within the same environment where she works as a nanny. So whenever she dresses a sick person, takes care of them, it brings her so much joy. And that is how she was able to come to the realization that any job that involves taking care of the needy, it brings her fulfillment, and that is the line of her purpose. So she may not have really discovered the specific purpose, but at least she got the line, because for me, like let me use my own example. I have a passion. I get fulfilled when I teach, but then what do I teach? That is now another level of narrowing it down. Once you realize teaching gives fulfillment, then you ask yourself, teaching what? Because if you tell me into teaching mathematics, honestly, I'm going to get zero fulfillment. You see? So look at the things that bring you fulfillment. Number two, what are your passions? What is this thing you do and it brings you so much joy? You can continue doing it. I usually tell people, if money was withdrawn from what you do, would you continue doing it? Or even, as someone tells you, don't ask for money in whatever you do.
Yeah.
I'm going to take care of all of your bills. Like someone comes and tell me, don't offer therapy and coaching sessions, don't teach people. I'm going to take care of all your financial expenses. The question is, would they still wake up to do it? Many people would not, because they do what they do because of their money. Myself, if someone told me I'll never have to worry about the bills, then I'll tell you, in fact, I'll become more inspired and motivated. I will do it like, I don't know. I'm able to give 150% because I never have to worry about the money. So now I do it. But that is not the case for many people. Many people, they do what they do because of the money. You withdraw money, zero motivation. So that is the other way. And then you should also monitor your emotions. Because it is out of monitoring your emotions that you're able to tell, what is this that brings me joy? What is this that leaves me feeling discontent? So that you eliminate it. And you continue, and then you have to be a curious person. Lynn, I'll tell you, if I wasn't a curious person, an explorative person, I would never have discovered my purpose. Because when I felt discontent with online writing, I did not continue staying in my house, doing a job that I did not like, just complaining. I said, let me move out, go to high schools, and let me just do something. Like, you have to take a step wherever you are, no matter how small that step is. Really love what you are doing. You are doing what you can where you are. You see? So you have to step out and do it. Have you realized that baking brings you joy? Can you start baking something, even if it's with your chico at home? Decorate it with whatever you have. I follow some people who are bakers, and one of them really inspires me because the guy produces cakes. I mean, the cake art is out of this world. But sometimes, occasionally, he will post where he started. And he was doing laughable things. Honestly, the cake art was horrible, but he was doing it. He started somewhere. Right now, he has perfected. Wow. So if you don't start somewhere, forget about getting anywhere. If you really desire to go to Nakuru, you desire to go to Nakuru, but you never get out of this house, you never go to Nakuru, just forget it, you never get there. So you have to be a curious person who wants to know more. So I started going to high school to speak to students on the issues of drug abuse, and then I wanted to know what more is there about drug abuse. That is when now I bumped onto the mental health course. Then I was like, what more is here about mental health? I bumped on childhood trauma. What more is there about childhood trauma? And then I came across, I realized out of the things people would bring to my inbox, that people are actually struggling with the relationships. And then I was like, what more is there about the relationships? Can you see being eager? Be curious. Let me tell you, Lynn, you are doing a good job. But if you never invest in understanding what more is here, I'm telling you, you will remain in this space. So you have to be a person who is eager to know more. I want to encourage our viewers. Whatever you do as your job, I want you to become a curious person. I want you to know what more is there. So you are working as an admin assistant. And ask yourself, whatever my boss does, what is this? What more is there? Whatever I do, how can I get better? Like, please don't be just content with where you are. Myself, I'm continually asking myself, how can I do better? Like, I have now introduced programs. Like right now I have a program that is upcoming, an 8-week program. Where I take people through 8 sessions covered over 8 weeks. That is not something that I've been doing. I've been offering coaching sessions to individuals. I've been having a support group that we meet every Saturday, but it was nothing like what we are offering now. So you have to keep wanting to know and determine more. And that is where you get to a place, you discover things that you didn't know you can do. You even get surprised. Right now I do things, even that program that I'm telling you about, I never knew that I could do it. But now after doing therapy sessions to individuals and having a support group that I would talk to every Saturday, I realized actually I can do more. So you have to be very curious. You have to be eager. You have to explore new things. That is how you go about discovering your purpose.
That's amazing. Myself here, I've been inspired by good people. So stay tuned. You can't afford to miss any of my upcoming videos. So as you wind up, now that you've been married for 14 good years, myself, I'm so amazed. 14 years is not a joke. So you can tell us more about marriage tips, how you can maintain your marriage, what is the most important thing? Because nowadays marriage is becoming another thing in our society.
Okay.
Yeah.
You made me. I did a post the other day about the lessons that I've learned in marriage. I've learned from my own experience in marriage and even from my clients.
Yes.
So one thing that I can say, we really encourage people to only get into marriage after they have worked on themselves. You know what we call inner work? Inner work is important. Inner work is about addressing your fears, addressing your trust issues, your anger issues, whatever your self-esteem issues. Or in fact, if you have self-esteem issues, don't even think of getting into marriage because it will fail. It will fail. I can assure you of that. So what I would tell people is they work on their inner self before they get into marriage. You know, I never got anyone to tell me this thing, and that is why I'm so passionate about telling people about this. In fact, I have a book here that I'll tell people more about. It is about healing from emotional wounds. It's my book that I wrote recently. You know, I wish someone told me this because out of not knowing that I harbored emotional wounds that I needed to work on before I got married, we wasted many years. I usually tell people the first like 6 years, honestly, because it is in 2017 that I started discovering things. The first like 16 years, 6 or 7 years, it was struggles that you don't understand. Because I know myself, I'm a good person. My husband is a good person. But then, because there are these issues that you never addressed before you go to marriage, you find yourself colliding unnecessarily. And I'll tell you, Lynn, when I started digging deeper into myself, and my husband also dug deeper into himself because we come from different backgrounds, our marriage experience improved significantly, honestly. Like we took a turnaround, such that right now I can boldly confess that I don't know what a happy marriage feels like. Let me tell you, 14 years into the marriage and 17 years since I met my husband, he is still my best friend. You know, like when I'm out here even now, I am eager to go home and spend time with him. This is a person that I've been with for 17 years. So for me, the greatest lesson is work on your fears. Number 2 is that you have to be open-minded when you get into marriage. Let me tell you, you may prepare yourself so much for marriage, but there are things that will only unfold in the context of a marriage. So you have to get into marriage with an open mind and ready to learn and unlearn and relearn things. There are things you will discover about your partner that you didn't know, because in a dating context, you won't be able to know those things, or even because they are there, they are open and everything, but because of hormone-based love, the oxytocin and all that, they blind you. So there are things you discover. Of course, there are measures that people can take so that they don't get carried away by emotions during dating. But there are still things you are going to discover about your partner, how they handle things, how they respond to things. Only after you get to in marriage. For instance, let me ask you, let me tell you. Like you may not know how your partner would do with the kids before you get married. Because even if they have kids in their life, like this is necessary, but those are not their children. When they get their children, that is when now you're going to realize if they treat children like this or the other. But then they are bottom lines that don't change. Like character. And that is why I usually tell people, please marry a good human first. Leave when you meet a man who wants to marry you. Before you even think of them as your husband, I want you to first ask yourself, are they a good human? And a good human is not just a good human to you. They are good to everyone else. And that is why I usually tell people, you see this thing of online dating, that you meet a person, you spend your entire dating experience on them. You know, you go to my like the only version you know is what you are seeing when they are talking. There are things we don't do when we are on the screen. You need to interact with the person when they interact with other people. And that is why we usually tell people, like, you know, attend a function, a family function with them. Even before you have proceeded so much, watch them. See how they behave with other people. Be on the road with them.
Yeah, sure.
Do people know that on the road you can really know the true characters? Because on the road, that is where people engage in road rage.
Yes.
You realize someone is insulting everyone. In a matatu, that is where a person is insulting other passengers because they have been stepped on their feet by mistake. But they don't care whether it is a mistake, they just release insults. You can learn so much from a person from observing them interacting with other people. So marry a good human first. Then marry a good friend. So this person, you should ask yourself, is this person a good human? Yes. And I can confidently say my husband is a good human. So tick.
Yes.
Then good friend. Never make a mistake of marrying a person who is not a friend to you. If you don't make a good friend, forget it.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you, in a marriage, you can, and guess what?
Yes.
You can be lovers, but you're not friends. You can be lovers, but you're not friends.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, in a marriage context, there is a point where issues will come up, and you can't relate as spouses. It is the friendship now that joins you.
Yeah.
You are like, at the end of the day, the things that I cannot do to you as my good friend. And remember, when a person is a good human, there are things they can't do to you.
Yeah.
There are atrocities they cannot commit towards you.
Exactly.
Then number two, being a good friend, there are situations whereby it is the friendship that will hold you together. Then number three now, a good spouse. Can you see the levels?
Yeah.
If a person follows good human, good friend, then good spouse. You can never make a mistake with that.
Wow.
And of course, there is the fear of God.
Yeah.
You have to, not even the fear of God, involving God. You know, I usually tell people, marriage is no joke. Marriage is no joke. I usually say, again, life is too short to live in regrets. But if I were to go back, if there is something that I would do differently, before I get married, perhaps it would have prevented some of the issues that I dealt with, or we dealt with during the initial years. It is to really involve God more. Involve God more.
Yeah.
And God can open your eyes to things you would otherwise not see with your naked eyes. So I usually tell people, fast if you have to. Before you choose a life partner,
Yes.
fast if you have to. Really ask for God's guidance. Me, I usually tell people, honestly, God preserved me. Because honestly, it's not like I involved God or anything.
Yes.
God just made sure that I get a good person so that I can be able to help other people.
Yes.
Honestly, it had to be God. And He did it by pure grace.
Yes.
I never even made any effort to involve Him. But I usually tell people, involve God. He can show you things you would otherwise not see. Involve God and show you how to heal emotionally. Choose a good human, a good friend, and a good spouse. And I'll tell you with that, there is no challenge that you cannot overcome in marriage.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, so actually need that one for having marry your good friend.
Yes.
Yeah, it's quite amazing.
And also because I do assume you get married at 25 or even 30. And let's say you leave this world at 80. Those are about 15 years. This is a person you're going to spend with 15 years. How will you say the person is not your friend? It's going to be hard.
Yeah,
this is a life companion. This is a person you live with every single day of your life. I wake up with my husband every day for 14 years now.
Yeah.
And I've known him for 17 years.
Yeah.
How then will you live with the person who doesn't? Who is not your good friend?
Yeah.
Your husband, your wife should be the first person you think about when you come across something on the road.
Exactly. Wow, that's amazing. And now for this beautiful book over here, my good people, I will allow our guest to tell us more about it. You can see it here. Let her give us more information on the same, on where you can get it and what is in here.
Okay, thank you, Lynn. Now, before I even tell them about the book, it's important that I've mentioned that I offer coaching and therapy sessions.
Yes.
My sessions are online and I'm a registered counselor.
Yes.
My sessions are online, meaning that I can offer them to you from wherever you are in this country. Lynn, I thank God because like 50% of my clients are actually international.
Okay.
People in Australia, Saudi Arabia, wherever. So we are able to do them via video call, and if you prefer even a phone call. If you are going through something and you want to talk to me and you're not in a place where you can do a video call, we do a phone call.
Yes.
So my sessions are online, and then as I mentioned, I have an upcoming coaching program.
Yes.
An 8-week program, every week on a Friday, 8 p.m. with a recording. If you miss one session, you get a recording. It is only 3,000 shillings.
Okay.
Now, there are people, Lynn, who may not be able to come for therapy for whatever reason,
Yes.
get this book. In this book, I can proudly say, Lynn, I have not come across another book here written by a Kenyan local, that explains the healing process the way I do. It is simplified such that anyone can understand what I mean here. There is no psychological jargon here. I have really avoided psychological jargon. If I mention something, I have to explain it.
Yes.
So it is a very simplified book. Anyone can pick this book, sit with it, go through it, and understand how they can come out of any traumas that they may have, any issues that they are suffering from. So I actually call it a comprehensive guide because it is comprehensive. If you can get this book and go through it and implement what I've shared here, you are going to heal from emotional wounds. Of that I can assure you. And of course, there is a caveat that if you experience any challenges, you should contact a therapist. So this book, we deliver countrywide anywhere a person is in Kenya, and it goes for only Kenya shillings 1,000. But I'm going to say this: if you come to order it and you tell me you saw me on Lynn's channel, I'm going to give you a discount. You're going to get it at Kenya shillings 850. Not 1,000.
Wow.
Kenya shillings 850. Just mention to me that you got it or you saw me on Lynn's channel. Right? Bishop, wherever you are, at a very small fee. My number that you can order on or through, it is 0741 528 801. 0741 528 801. Maybe Lynn will put it on the screen.
Yeah, sure.
So that is also the number you will contact me if you want therapy sessions with me. And again, we deliver wherever you are. We have delivered Malindi, Mombasa, Nakuru, Kericho, wherever.
Yes. Do you have any remark to tell our audience before we finish?
Okay, first, thank you so much for watching us. It is a pleasure. I hope that I have inspired in one way or another. And also, I would also request them to follow me on my Facebook page, by the way. The things, what Lynn, you will attest because you are my follower. What I've shared here is a tip of the iceberg. I offer so much content on healing, healthy relationships, and purposeful living almost every single day. On my page, Heal and Thrive with Jeniffer Kiarie. My Facebook page, I'm also on Instagram. Heal and Thrive with Jeniffer Kiarie. You check out that page, become my follower, and let us continue learning more.
Wow. Well, it's been such an amazing session. Myself, I've learned a lot. And thank you so much for coming.
Thank you too for having me.
Yes. You're most welcome. Okay. So my good people, you can get this wonderful book at only 850 if you mention you saw it from this channel as well. Remember to subscribe, remember to like and to comment on this video, and don't forget to follow Heal and Thrive with Jeniffer Kiarie on Facebook and Instagram. Thank you so much for watching this video to the end. See you on the next video. My name is Lynn Nyawira.